Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. It's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 551, and I'm going to do a companion video or companion episode to yesterday's episode where I was showing you how to use Zoho Vault as a user. I thought I might actually show you the team admin panel, or what a super admin can see, and the sorts of things that it gives you as a manager, and why. Well, I think it's actually a pretty good product. Okay, so just a recap. Why passwords managers? Because they're secure. Because you can share passwords, they encrypt the data. You can have access to your passwords across multiple devices without having them hidden or documented in an online doc that, if you get hacked, it's there. They can get access to it. It's not 100% secure. It will never be 100% secure. I would be remiss in saying that this is as secure as you're going to get. It's pretty secure. It's as secure as it can be without busting the budget and making things really, really difficult to do. So that's why password managers. Why Zoho Vault? Because it's one of the ones that are out there, and it's one of the ones that I like. I think it's quite affordable, and I use it because it's part of the product set that I use. It integrates with a lot of my other applications. So that's why password managers. I would recommend, if you just want to get a feel for how Zoho Vault looks as a user, some of the things you can do. I'll probably do a follow on from it tomorrow. I'll see how I go with this episode. But if you want to just get a feel for what it looks like and how you can create passwords, pass cards, and save them off so that you've got your passwords saved securely, great episode. Even if I do so myself, great episode to go back and have a look at. Today we're going to be looking at the admin panel that only an admin user can get access to. So the user I did that on yesterday was a user. That's what your team members will be able to see. As an admin, here's what you're going to be able to see. So let's get on with it, shall we? So here we go. This is the Zoho Vault. I've logged into my admin user. There is only two users in Vault, by the way. There's my user, my admin user, and my user. I'm using this account specifically for these demonstrations. I am probably a little more careful about showing private data when I get down into password managers and stuff. So please forgive me if it looks a bit sparse. It is. There's only one password and one secure note in there. Anyway, this is what an admin user will see when they log in. The first thing they'll see is the dashboard that we went through yesterday. This is for the whole team, I believe. The password actions, how many were accessed, what were added, how many were deleted. No, this must be from my personal account. What's been shared with you, what the password assessment score is, mostly because I have no passwords myself. There is only one password, and that's the one that's shared with me. If I look at the team dashboard, which we didn't have access to yesterday, we couldn't get access to that because we weren't an admin manager. We can see that there are 2 passwords, 2 users, no expired passwords. And I can see across all of my team who's using it, who's non-compliant, why are they non-compliant. Does that tell me why that does? So it doesn't tell me why they're non-compliant. That tells me that they're non-compliant. Tells me who's active, what my passwords, whether my passwords are expiring. We'll come back to that shortly. And what password actions were taken. So we get a view, we can get a view for how our passwords are being used, how our pass cards are being used, and whether People are doing things that they shouldn't be, etc., etc., etc. Uh, we have, the password screen and the folder screen. I covered all that yesterday. We have an audit screen here. Now this, we have the access to this when we are on a user, but it only tells us what our user is doing. You will see here that we have access to all users. And we can see what all users are doing. We can sort by the user. I don't think we can filter by the user. There's no filter function here. We can filter the columns. We can say which columns we want to show you. So you can actually reduce this down a bit. Yep, we can see all these things here. If we go down to folders under the audit, we can see what was added, what was deleted, what was shared, what wasn't shared. We don't have a lot of information here because we haven't done a lot on the account. We can see what our, just generally what our users and groups have been doing. Others. I disabled restriction on password sharing so that we could do yesterday's demonstration. And then the super audit, we just get to see what people can do, what we've done, what's going on. Okay, so you've got an audit function here. There's not a lot I can show you in this because it's a new account. We haven't done a lot, but you've got a lot of visibility of what's going on within your team without actually having access to their own private data as well. If I click down to reports, this screen I don't think appeared on the user screen. We can see who's been using it, who we've added, how many users have been added. So if you've got multiple admins, you can see who's been added, who's had their roles changed. You can see who they are here. Password access. What's been shared, what's unshared, what's marked as personal. You can even see the information that has been added, enterprise password details. You still can't access it. I mean, it's been shared with me, so I can access this one, but you still can't access the data. You can just see what's being added to people's accounts. Password assessment's pretty cool. It gives you an idea of who's got weak passwords. There's user reports pending still. We can see the security score on our various users. So you get an idea of who's got weak passwords, whether there are weak passwords, whether they need to be fixed up or not. We can see what's been shared with third parties. Again, you can see I've had a passcard. It doesn't tell me which one. Oh, it does. If I click on it, it tells me which one, what date, who shared it with me. So I can see what's being shared out with third parties. And I can also see what's being shared to specific third parties. So if you've got a concern that maybe someone's sharing something they shouldn't, you can actually check it here. Passwords that are unchanged, not that we have to worry about it. I'll come to expired passwords very soon. Active users and passwords. We've got nothing. There's no data here to show you much here. I just want to show you the options that you have. Who's in compliance with our policies, who's not in compliance, what do we, and that should tell us what. We can't click on them, but it should tell us what the compliancy issues are and who's logged in and logged out, who's been accessing the system. Okay, so that's your reports menu. Settings is where it really all comes together. Okay, so under user management, I can see all my users. I can see who's inactive and who's been invited. I can see my active users and who their identity provider is. I can also see what their sharing status is. So for, I can't do it for me, but for my other user here, I can revoke access, which means they won't have access to Zoho Vault. I can take it away from them. If I think there's a problem or if they're leaving and I want to make sure that they don't have access to our passwords, I can revoke their access. If I think their account has been compromised, I can revoke their access. I can also escalate their privileges, so I can make them an admin or a super admin. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Sorry about that. An admin or a super admin, or I can leave them as or make them a user. So you can. This is where you would change their privileges. Enforce MFA. At the moment, we don't have mandatory multi-factor authentication turned on for this organization for Zoho Vault. You can enforce it. And what that means is that once you've enforced it, they will be asked to set up their preferred second factor of authentication. One-time password, SMS, Google Authenticator, YubiKey, voice call. There's a and Zoho One Auth. There's a couple of things that are available to do the multi-factor authentication. Just didn't want to complicate this demonstration by having to do multi-factor authentication on top of it all. Password management, I can import passwords. These are my passwords. So this is, yeah, these are my passwords, things that are in my account, things that have been shared with me, things that I have added. I can import, like I went through this yesterday, export, password policy. We looked at this yesterday, but we weren't able to change it. So we can look, we've got different policies here. So strong, if I click on strong, a password with strict constraints. It must be a minimum of 8, a maximum of 14, starts with a letter, must start with a letter, must include mixed case, must include numbers, must include special characters, and there must be at least one special character. We haven't excluded any characters here, and after 60 days, we want them to recycle the password. So that's a strong password. Now you'll see here we can make it, we can enforce this also for our master policy, password policy. I haven't enforced it, but we can do simply by turning it on and then turn it off if you want to disable it. If we want to edit a policy, we should be able to, these are system default policies, so we can't edit them. So we have less strict and moderate and strong. So if I just quickly run through what each of them are. Less strict, there's a minimum 4, maximum 8 characters, starts with a letter, it doesn't have to start with a letter, must include mixed case, no, must include numbers, no, must include special characters, no, recycle passwords every 60 days. What that means is that you need to change your passwords every 60 days. I think that's what that means. Moderate is something between those two, 6 and 8. Yes, we need mixed numbers. No, we don't need special characters. We can add our own password policy though. So if I click on add here, just let me show you that again because I did that really quickly. Click on the add button and give it a name. I'm just going to say for demo so that I know what it is. You can give it an optional for demo purposes. There we go. So the minimum password length, we can make it 8. The maximum password length, I don't really care. I want people to be able to have long numbers. We're going to see if it'll let us have 256. But I want people to be able to have long passwords if they want them. They just have to be a minimum of 8. Oh, 99. There we go. So we're going to say 99 characters. Do we want it to start with a letter? No, I don't necessarily want it to start with a letter. It can start with a number. I don't care. It can start with a special character. I don't care. Must include mixed case. Yes, it must. Must include numbers. Yes, it must. Must include special characters. Yes. Number of special characters. I'll leave it as 1. However, I am going to exclude the exclamation point from it because everyone uses exclamation points. Now we've got this recycle passwords after 60 days. That is, when do we want people to have to reset their passwords every 60 days? I can say no, or I can say yes, but I don't want it to be 60 days. I want it to be 120 days. Now you've got the other option here is make this your default policy. We can check that. I'm not going to. We're going to click save. It's added our for demo purposes, and you'll see here where we've got the make default column. We can turn one off and we can turn one on. Okay, turn one on and it turns the other off. We can also enforce default policy for all passwords. Now, when you do that, it'll go through everything and it will send messages to your users saying these passwords don't meet our password standards. You've got to change them. The only reason I wouldn't actually do that necessarily is because, sorry, I'm just thinking here, is because if your customers are sharing passwords with you and you're putting your customers' passwords into your password manager, like I do, like I do to keep it secure, I don't want to have to go back to my customer and say, well, my password manager won't let me save that. So I don't enforce it across all my passwords. Password categories. So we've got categories that you can use here. You can also add your own category. So you can't do much with these. Can we edit them? So we can edit them. We can't do a lot with them. We can't change a lot with them. So we've got mandatory as the address line in the address book. Sorry, something's itching at me. We've got personal data. We need to identify what is personally identifiable data. We can't change much on the existing ones, but we can add a new category. We can exclude this category from password assessments if we want. Is this all? Oh, okay, because we've only got 4 fields. So username, password. Let's make it address line 1. Is it text? What options do we have? Text, password, file, multi-line text. This is all personally identifiable information, so I'm going to mark it as PII. Address line 2. It's text. To add new columns or new rows, we just click the plus button to add new rows. We can fill in as much as we want here. We can actually customize our categories to give us the information we want. So you don't have to use the built-in categories here. You can turn them off. So for example, if you don't want healthcare cards showing, you can turn healthcare cards off, and that won't, no, when someone goes to add a new card, they won't see healthcare as an option for it. Or you can turn them back on. So you can also customize your password categories. Offline access. I can download, like I could with my on my user, I can download a copy of my passwords for my own use. It will be encrypted with my master password, so I need to remember that, and I will be able to read it even if I can't get access to the internet to access my online store. So this is all your password management stuff. Let's have a look at admin configs, because this is where it gets a little more exciting. Admin configs, fine-grained controls. We want to restrict users from. Now, what does this do? When you enforce this option, all the users of your organization, including you and blah, 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 will not be able to add any file attachments. You can add exceptions to this and selectively allow users to add. This setting can be changed at any time and changes are audited. Okay, so let's go through them. We need to turn things on and off. So they're off at the moment. You'll notice down here I've got sharing passwords is on. I'll show you that in just a moment. So we can restrict people from adding file attachments to their cards, creating folders, adding passwords. They can just have view access. You can make a view access group or user if you want. Adding personal passwords. If you don't want them to say their own personal passwords in their card, they can't do that. Adding enterprise passwords, sharing passwords with third party, exporting. So you've got all these things that they can't do. If you turn it on, they will not be able to use this functionality. You can allow users to export passwords shared with users, paste their master password, reuse password names. You can, what does this do? Enable password reset alerts. Set the validity of a user passwords. If the policy is enforced across the organization, all users will be notified in-app and via email to update their passwords. Cool. Okay. Users are notified 3 days in advance and every day after that until their password validity expires. So if you get to a point where you think you've been compromised, you need to get passwords updated, you can say reset the password, come in here, reset the password. 3 days, their passwords will expire and they'll need to reset them. Disable notifications for expiring files, IP restrictions. You've got a whole heap of things here that you can disable as well. So you've got a lot of fine-grained controls that you can use. I click across here to user specific. You'll see that I'm restricted from sharing passwords. I'll show you that in just a moment, but learn about dogs is not. So let's just remember that I'm restricted from sharing passwords, but learn about dogs is not. You can, and to set that up, for example, I want to stop people adding their own personal passwords. You'll see here I've got manage exemptions. You click on that and I'll choose myself for that. Say exempt users. Okay, so the users are exempt. Now if I come across and I come to my card, you see how it's got the blue background on it? I am restricted from sharing passwords, but I can add personal passwords, whereas Learn About Dogs is the other way around. So these are your fine grained controls, how to manage access to your cards and what various users can and can't do. It's on it's sort of an all in and one out basis. It's not an all out and one in. You can't just do this for one user. You've got to put everyone in and then exclude everyone if that's what you want. Configuration, we want to limit password history to however many. That means that when they go into their cards, it sees how many passwords they've been, which part, their last X passwords will appear. I just set it at 5 or 10. Data backup, cool. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. This is probably the best functionality I've ever had, to be honest. This allows me to schedule a backup of all of my data. Now, this does it for all my users. All my users will get a data backup of their passwords when I turn this on. So we turn it on. We say, how often do you want to do it? Daily, weekly, monthly? I typically do weekly on a Monday. Do we want to include passwords we've shared? The user will also receive backups of passwords. Yes, I want to do shared. Next backup is whenever. We want to manage the exclusions. Who do we want in and out of this? What user groups do we want in and out of this? And I can choose where I want this to back up to. I can choose Zoho OneDrive. Oh, I can't on this account because I don't have a OneDrive account yet. A work drive account. I can choose my OneDrive account. I can choose my Google Drive. You do have to go through and authenticate yourself. There's a whole heap of processes to go through to use these, but you can back up your data also into your cloud drives as well, which I think is fantastic. I like doing this because if you forget your master password and you've got to reset it, you will lose all of your passwords. At least if you have a backup of it, you should be able to get into it to be able to re-import it. This tells you what subscription we're on. Now my personalization. We went through a lot of this yesterday. Personalization, save favorite passwords by default, set constraints while exporting audit reports. Do we want to set require a password or set a password? I normally just set a password. What's your language? Inactivity timeout. So for me, again, I'm just going to make these a week so that it doesn't keep timing out when I'm trying to do things. That's saved. And then under security, IP restrictions, we can add a restriction as to who can access our Vault account. So that means if we think we're being hacked from a specific IP address range, we can put that in. Privacy settings, retain user data after deletion for how many days, password categories, audits. We can say who gets, if they've got an address, we can restrict export, we can mask fields to hide them. So we've got a lot of options around our privacy settings as well. Unlock Vault. I did this yesterday. I covered this one yesterday. I can use either my OneAuth mobile or authenticator or another one. Windows Hello, Touch ID, YubiKey, passkeys. We won't go into the multi-factor authentication options on this, but you can do it. You can set up multi-factor authentication. And if I want to, I can change my master password. So they're the settings options that we have as an admin. So not only do we as an admin, that's what I was going to show you, not only do we as an admin get access to seeing what our team is doing, we've got a whole heap of functionality around what they can and can't do by default. I wanted to just show you. So you'll notice that this pass card here, the Gmail account, I can't share pass cards. So I've got my share button has been restricted, and you see it says sharing restricted by admin. I can't do anything. Won't let me share it. It does say though, it tells me that it has been shared with me, and it tells me who has shared access and who else is it shared with, so I can see who else has access to it. Now, if I want to be able to share for this user, I can go back into my settings. It's under Find Grain Controls and Sharing Passwords. Let me just turn the restriction off and see what that does. There we go. We've got password sharing re-enabled now. Whoops. See how it's not grayed out anymore? And it gives me the share screen to be able to share that. So I can turn it off for everyone, or under Fine Grain Controls, Settings, Fine Grain Controls again, I can restrict sharing, and I can manage exemptions, and I can add myself and learn about dogs here. There we go. So I've added me in this time. I wasn't the last time. Go back to passwords. Well, isn't that interesting? It says I can't share. Did I not save it properly? Of course, Charlie. Just hadn't refreshed, that's all. And now the share button's back. So I can see that oh, sorry, that's not who it's shared with. That's I can share. Oh, because it's been shared with, be shared by Learn About Dogs, I can't share it again. So I can share it with myself. That doesn't make sense. I've already got access to it, but I can also share it with third parties. Given that my voice is starting to go, hope that one was useful to you. There's so much to think about in terms of your security and your policies for password sharing. You want to be able to tell your clients, if you are supporting clients and using this to share passwords to make sure that people are secure, that you're doing the right thing by them, that you know what your policies are, that you can tell them what your policies are. It helps you not only set the policies, but enforce the policies and monitor your policies as well. So it's not just about password sharing once you get into the team accounts. It is all password storage and sharing and access. It is also about that overarching thing of security and auditing as well. I hope it's been useful to you. If you've got any comments, questions, feedback, come across and join me in my community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. You can join the conversation there, and it's really designed for business owners who want to get a better understanding of their tech. Ask questions, give feedback, whatever works for you over there. Otherwise, you can also leave comments wherever you are watching or listening to this video. If this video was useful, that's where I'm going, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.